Namato Ratanatayasa. May I pay homage to Triple Them, the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. My respect goes to my parents and my teachers. Hello, good evening, everyone. So, today is Sunday, the 13th of September 2020. This is Ajahn Sujan from Varapunya Meditation Center, Aberdeen, Scotland. So I'm here again with you all on this Facebook Dhamma Talk. And thank you everyone for coming and listening, locally and internationally. Hello Yvonne, Manish, Margaret, and everyone. So today is a Sunday, the 13th. As usual, we've been talking on different aspects of the teachings of the Buddha. And mainly I have been focusing on the first discourse of the Buddha and working with each main teachings of the Buddha and how does that relate it to our day-to-day life? And how can we apply Buddha's teachings in our day-to-day life, in particularly such a very uncertain time that we are all facing? Some parts of the country in the UK went into second lockdowns, and other parts of the country, other parts of the world, countries are going again new lockdown themes. Some curfews, rules become tighter, and all need to be more conscious about whatever we do, and very conscious and cautious about any action that we take that may regret to yourself. Such as when you're going into the mass, making sure that wearing a mask, having a social distance to one another, and whenever if there is any symptoms or doubt of any symptoms, then should take the tests as soon as possible by isolating. In such a difficult time, it is a good opportunity to learn some new things and use that in a daily life. I'm here offering this on the basis of the Buddha's teachings and how I have understood and how I have practiced, simply being with you all and sharing some of my knowledges to you. Some of them, those who have listened, got a lot of benefit from it. Others, at least they have got a chance to learn what the Buddha said about in the different aspects of the Buddha's teachings. So far, I have been talking on main Buddha's teachings, the Four Noble Truths and Eightfold Noble Path. And every night I've been elaborating on those 8 topics. And yesterday I have mentioned on the theme that we are working on now is the mindfulness. And here, mindfulness, I mentioned yesterday as a broad sense that how it's becoming a more secular and becoming a more in a mainstream world. But without a doubt, the meditation has helped significant number of people. And particularly the books that I was just looking at the statistics about the hits in 1970s. There was only 100 or 200 copies of the books on a meditation, whereas now 1990 or 2019 or 2020 there are over 3,000 hits on the mindfulness alone. So in this couple of days I will be focusing on mindfulness, the right mindfulness, because there is a right and a wrong mindfulness. When we talk about the wrong mindfulness, that means that mindfulness basically means having a concentrated mind and an ability to focus on the things that you are about to do. In that explanation, people who are planning for robbing or planning to do something wrong action is also regarded as they have a thorough planning with a mindfulness. And this is not regarded as a right mindfulness, and this is not counted as the right mindfulness in Buddha's practice. So we are focusing on right mindfulness. But at the moment I've been talking about the mindfulness, the word in Pali or the Buddhism called sati itself. So yesterday I gave the history of the sati, where it came from and how it's been applied and how it's been using nowadays. And when we look at the Buddha's teachings about the sati is the part of so-called assistant Dhamma, or it's called upakara, means giving you an opportunity or giving you the benefit that assists you. So in that section of upakara, benefit or assisting principles, comes sati and sampajanya. So now we are talking only sati, which means memory or remembering. So on this basis of what the sati means, that it is not just a present moment awareness that we mostly talk about. Whenever people talk about a mindfulness, normally think about being mindful in the present moment, non-judgmental, in purpose, being mindful of things that's happening here and now. So, whereas in the practice of a Buddhist meditation or mindfulness meditation, first thing we have to remember that it is a wholesome activity. A wholesome in a sense that brings happiness by not violating any and by not causing any trouble to oneself and then to others. So it's called kusala kamma, wholesome action. And the second, it is not just a present moment awareness. It is ability to be mindful of a recent past, and ability to be mindful of the present moment, and ability to be mindful of distant, near future. Now, in here, basically it means we know where we came from before you're listening to this talk. You know that what you were doing before you come to listen this talk. So that's it. That is known as a recent past. But you are not hanging around with the recent past. The back of your mind, simply you're conscious that you came from there, but you have no lingering thought of that. Wish I should have been there. Why I am here, like that. So that is having a mindfulness of recent past. And if somebody comes and asks you about the recent past, you can tell them clearly without any missing. And that is mindfulness of the recent past. And then the second is the mindfulness of near future. Now, here again, you're conscious that what you're going to do in the future after you have done this particular job in this present moment. Let's say now you're now you're listening the talk, and you have already planned after this talk what you are going to do. You have this tentative plan that what you're going to do in the near future. So that is also back of your mind, you're still conscious about it. And that is being mindful of a near future. And the third is the present moment awareness. You know that what you are doing here and now. Every moment, every time what you're doing, you know it. And this you can imagine, like when you are working, you're mindful of what you're doing. When you are walking, you're mindful of your walking. When you're talking, you're mindful of your talking. When you're eating, you're mindful of your eating. And in this case, I normally refer, when you're eating, do not eat your thoughts. Yeah? And which most of the cases, many of us, when we are eating, we are not eating food. We are not eating, let's say, rice, or let's say hamburger, let's say Big Mac. We are not eating that at all. We're simply eating our thoughts. We're grumbling, we're eating, yet our mind are thinking too much, thinking about so many other things. So when you eat, not eat with the thoughts. And that I again sometimes tell our members that when you are eating with the thoughts, you're disrespecting a food. You have no respect at all to the food. You're just just putting in your mouth and eating without knowing what you're eating, without testing what you're testing. Yeah? So, being mindful at this present moment is basically what you know what you're doing. Right? In this present moment, being mindful of that. So remembering to be mindful of the moment, what's happening in here and now, is also a form of a mindfulness, but not a complete one. It's not complete. As I said, mindfulness, according to the Buddha's teachings, is being able to be mindful of the recent past, near future, and present moment. And that completes. And that gives us a big space to breathe. Because there is no present moment. Always present moment. It's very difficult to be mindful of the present moment. It's impossible. Because it's changing so fast. It's in a transient. It's constant in a change that's going on. So that's why, although the phrase called be mindful or be present or mindful of the present moment or awareness of the present moment, it's a fleeting moment that we are aware of. And it goes on like that. So this is one thing that we have to be mindful of to begin with. So, and this in the meantime, when we are mindful, again, we are not putting any commentaries on it. We are not coloring at all. It's like a pool of water, just the pure water, nothing added in. But the very moment when we identify and then put our thoughts on it, our experiences on it, then the water transforms into different colors. It's like you're putting ice, or on an ice you're putting some it's called sweet things, the colored things, and then some bit of milk, and then it's called a sweetener, or what's called frappuccino or something like that, and you're taking that. So you're adding it on, adding. But whereas a practice of a mindfulness meditation is to accept as they are, being mindful as they are in the way they are. And in this, I normally give a simile of, suppose in Thailand we have a kway teow, and a kway teow itself is already delicious. It's a noodle, a well-cooked noodle, and it's a delicious soups, and you can find varieties of it. You can put the fish balls, or chicken balls, or the pork balls, and then there will be some other vegetables mixing with, and the soup being boiled deliciously. You put there noodle, and then a soup, and then a few fish balls, and then some veggies. In itself is already delicious, and yet we are not satisfied. We put more on it. Some people like to put the vinegar, a little bit more, and then a little bit of a chilies, a little bit of a salt, the fish sauce, and sometimes even people put sugar. So preference is different. Preference is different to each one of us. But in its reality itself is fresh, it's delicious itself. But our perception is such that when we see things, we want to make it, we want to we put it our preference on it. And that's how we lose the plot. We are transforming things as we like it to be, not as they are. Similarly, when you're eating a pizza as well, you can put so many things in it. Yeah? So adding as you wish, making it to be as you want it to be rather than as it is. In Nepal or in India, we call it roti, plain roti. And you can mix with anything and you can eat it with any other curries. You don't have to put anything at all. A pizza is just to transform and making you more appetite and you want to eat more. Yeah, it's a transformed of this roti, chapati. Yeah? Chapati itself in its complete. You can eat it. And yet we are not satisfied. So we put it in, more things in it. Make it more delicious, or so-called delicious, or fancy. Nowadays, even when you're eating a roti, compared to the pizza, people will go with the pizza rather than the roti. But I like roti. I like roti. Yeah. I remember in 2005 when I came to England for the first time, and I couldn't cook rice. So I never cooked it throughout my being a monk life. And then I came to UK and I lived in a Punjab Buddhist society with an Indian family, and I was introduced the very next day how to cook, how to wash. And I didn't know how to turn on the washing machine, and I didn't know how to turn on the cooker. I didn't know how to put the rice and cook the rice. So this is a whole new world for me at that time, and so many detailed things I can talk about this cooking stuff. But in Thailand, throughout the time I never cooked, and I didn't know how to cook. I remember when I was a very young boy, and I didn't want to go to work in the field, planting this rice. And then my mother said, "Okay, If you don't want to go to the work in the field, then you cook a rice. And that was a terrible cooking. I still remember that, and I never cooked it. I always helped my mom to cook it, but I never cooked by myself. And once you become a monk again, you don't have to. And particularly in Thailand, you don't have to cook. But when I came to UK, my senior monk, he said, now in a few days he's going to Canada, and now you have to learn. No, I have to learn by myself how to wash, turn on the cookers, turn on the washing machines, and like that. Within one day, I needed to be very mindful of all details, how to turn on a cooker, how to put the rice on the rice cooker, and then how many amount of the water in it, like that. And one of the devotees came and taught me how to make a roti. And I have a very limited memory. When I was young, I was helping, and I didn't know how to make it. This devotee taught me how to make a roti. And I make the roti. And it was very hard. And I was told there is not enough water. And I cook the rice, no enough water. I make the curries, no one can eat it except me. And I was questioning myself, why they can't eat it? I can eat. So any leftover, I left it to the members, those who come to the temple, to eat it. No one can eat it. I am a terrible cooker. But now I have developed that skill a little bit, and still nowadays again, when I cook, it's only for me. No one can eat it. And in terms of the eating again, I can eat anything. I have no preference. As long as there is on a plate, I can eat it. No worry at all. That's why when someone asked me about what is your favorite food, what is my favorite food? And I told, my favorite food is on my bowl. So later on, when someone asked me about, are you a vegetarian or non-vegetarian? They thought that all the Buddhist monks should be vegetarian. And then I said, I am a platarian. Yeah? So I explained, whatever falls into my plate, I eat it. And later on, one of the the English teacher from Albine school told me that, this platarian concept is very new. No one knows, but who knows, in a couple of years later, it will be included in the dictionary, the Oxford Dictionary, English dictionary. So, I am a platarian. Yeah? I enjoy eating. I do not have any preference. I can eat. Wherever I go, I test all the foods. But testing my food is just to eat. Okay? I cannot make any judgments, nice or not nice. Like that. So, basically, I'm just off the topic now. Okay? What I'm talking is that we like to add more things onto the things that's already perfect. So mindfulness meditation is not to have any commentaries, any stories added on, any proliferations at all, no coloring at all, as it is, as they are. If you see, just see. If you hear, just hear. There is no preferences at all that this is and that is. Sorry. So that's why the more you practice, the empathy will generate. The more you understand, kindness and compassion gradually generates from your hearts and minds. And as you develop that, not only you see the whole world is such a beautiful place to live, there won't be a no complaint, nothing but pure happiness. positivity, and you will enjoy. So that's why this practice of a mindfulness meditation has been proven is the effective ways to make the world better. Even talking about any subject, any topics, if you become a mindful of your own self, own thing in the present moment without having any commentaries on it, perfect. You will be happy. Okay? So try this, to know as they are when it is happening in that very moment, without any commentaries, any stories, knowing as they are the way it is, without having any colorings. So I end here for tonight's reflection, and we'll come back following days on the same topic again and again, just to elaborate on this topic, to let you understand what it is, and how we can practice it. Right? Thank you everyone for listening. May you all be well and happy. May you all be growing into this Dhamma for the happiness and well-being of yourself and then to others. With this, may all of you be blessed by the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, and best of luck. In a few moments time, we are going to have a chanting and guided meditation. You're most welcome to join with us. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. Buddha Dhamma Sangha bless you.